Yo, what's up?
You, what up? What up? Clark
Clark
Brothers.
Brothers, we're back. We're going to do reactions. Back for some Clark Brothers reactions here. We're going to be reacting to Ren, The Money Game, Part 3. I like to say this is going to be a director's reaction. Because we hear Ren does a lot of stuff. He records all of his stuff and directs. So, and the director is here, the filmmaker. So, we're going to be reacting to the video and everything else is going on. I'm sure the director will jump in whenever he wants and stop it and give his intake on, the camera work and stuff like that. So, we're going to get into it. I heard this one of them ones. So, without further ado, Ren, The Money Game, Part 3.
Okay, there we go.
And that is him on the piano, I heard too. A lot of people were saying they didn't know. I'm hearing that
Yeah.
is him on the piano.
Now, I'm not sure what type of artist he is, but I'm not sure what type of artist he is. Obviously, he's a classically trained pianist. We know that much just
Right.
from watching this.
I just hear from what they say, he's like everything. It's hard to really put a thing on him. Like I said, I'm not really too familiar with him, but this video has a bunch of
I've never
views.
heard of him. Yeah, I've
Right.
never heard of him
I,
before
I
now.
just the funny thing is I just got put on to him by my daughter, like my oldest daughter. Shout out to Valerie Stitch. She put me on to him and told me to check him out. So
Okay, let's finish it up. Hmm, that's interesting. Sounds like
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 year old and his first words were mine, mine, gimme. 2 years old he was walking, 3 years old walking quickly. 4 years old he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old and his daddy told him, listen here son, you gotta learn to be a man. A man he works for what he wants. 6 years old and he's reading, writing, top of the
so stop
bunch.
it
And
right
when
there
he's
for a minute.
7 he's
See, that's crazy because if you look at that scene where he just says five, what did he say? 5 years old, and
Mhm.
look at the father in the ear as close up, and the one who's playing the 5 year old, his name is Jimmy. He's just like responding to what that's child programming. 5 years old, and he told him, "You got to learn to be a man." Like that's child programming. So young, like,
Right.
that's great advice, but not for a
Yeah.
5 year old.
Well, I mean, yeah. it is. I mean, but it's we all kind of, well, not all, but our generation, we experienced that at a young age too.
Right.
Yeah, I don't remember if I can't remember when, well, five, but yeah,
If I
yeah,
did, I'm talking about cartoons. I don't remember, my parents telling me, "Oh, you gotta work for what you want," and you can just tell. You're gonna go back a little bit. You can just tell from the way the child, which they have potato sacks on their face for whatever.
yeah.
That's always creepy to me.
It
Um,
is. That reminds me of Jason from Friday 13 Part 2.
right. And
It's
yeah, and
very
and they
creepy.
say they say that is a part of programming. So he's looking up like, what's my father telling me? That I gotta learn to be a man at 5. So as you see here, he's kind of developing fast. You know what I mean? So we're gonna
Well,
go
he
back a
already
little
was
bit.
developing fast because he was running at 3.
Right.
He was running fast at
Quickly,
3.
swiftly, running up. So we're gonna go back a little bit.
Oh, yeah. All right, bring it there.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 year old and his first words were mine, mine, gimme. 2 years old he was walking, 3 years old walking quickly. 4 years old he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old and his daddy told him, listen here son, you gotta learn to be a man. A man he works for what he wants. 6 years old and he's reading, writing, top of the bunch. And when he's 7, his progression made him student number 1. 8 years old and he's praised for unusual grades. 9, his parents paid for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he ascends and ascends. His daddy tells him, son, money is the means to all ends.
Mm.
14, solving complex mathematical equations. At 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17, and he sells his vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18, and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns the truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself.
Yeah.
23, a life of
Woo!
luxury,
Hold
crystal
on.
and cocaine. 24, he
Wow.
No, that's real. That's dope.
22,
Yeah.
he learns that the truth is just an obstacle
Oh,
to wealth.
well,
If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself.
yeah. Is this
That's
song
about
about this song about Donald Trump?
if you manipulate the
That's
data,
what he was told
the truth is just an obstacle to wealth. Now, he is what, 22?
at this point.
So,
Yeah.
so he was 17. He said 17, not yet an adult, but practically a millionaire. So he sold his vision and said, I think he said 17, he sold his vision. And then you
Yeah.
see like the father give him money and pat him on the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That's very interesting. I'm trying to pay attention to, the actual visuals, but I'm looking at the word. I brought the lyrics up on the screen because I'm looking at the lyrics too,
Okay.
as we go. But it's very interesting. Very interesting concept. Very simple but effective concept. One
Right.
room, him moving around, camera just kind of follow him around. Um, yeah, it's definitely powerful. It shows you that you don't need to have all types of crazy tricks and stuff going on in a video. I mean, they have their tricks are more like illusion tricks, not really
Right.
camera tricks, just
And you can
illusion.
tell when so far, this looks like one big room. And
Yeah, yeah.
you can tell when he passes, I'm sure they go and clean up what he just used and
Oh,
go
that's
and
right.
get
Yeah,
ready for when he
yeah.
comes back around.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Like when you do those type of videos or these type of shots, they're called oneers. And it's like a oneer is basically one shot, not cutting away. And I mean, there was that one video with that girl, that white girl that was dancing. The song went ooh ah
Yeah, yeah,
ooh.
yeah. I remember that.
That was a oneer. Like the whole video,
Okay,
they
okay.
stayed on her and just went from one place. So like those are very difficult to do because if you mess up, you got to start all over. You
Mm.
can't. You
So
can't. You
is
can't.
that what this is? Is that what this is
So
so far?
far, so far, that's what it looks like. It's like they got the camera on, some sort of steady camera, something, and it's moving around with him. But like you said, when it moves to like a corner, they probably have, whoever their crew or whatever switching things out. They've done that on shows like Law and Order and stuff like that, where they're doing a
Mm.
shot of a person sitting and they're doing like an interrogation shot and it's swinging around and swinging around. You literally can see, like, you see the behind the scenes, actors are switching out chairs and coming and sitting back down and switching, like when the camera's not on them.
Mm.
So it's like it's really, it has to be choreographed and you only get one take at it. So if you mess up, you got to start all over. That's
Wow.
the difficulty of doing a oneer. Yep. All right,
All
let's
right, let's
run it.
go. Take it back a little bit.
Double down.
Okay.
IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17, and he sells his vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18, and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns that truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself. 23, a life of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here, son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28, inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30, his daddy says you're losing the race. You're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31, a big maneuver for his daddy's approval. Moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32, moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's
Wow. Okay. Hold.
33,
Stop it. Stop
building
it. Stop
warehouse.
it. See, you notice how he's doing things the right way,
Yeah.
and then
As it gets older,
as established, he got his father's
he gets
telling
more
him
money.
not good enough, not good enough, not good enough,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now it's
Exactly.
getting dark now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
notice
mean, even though
how
he was already a
notice the
millionaire,
music changes. The darker
it's
it
getting
gets,
more. Yeah.
now his music starts changing on the piano.
Right. It's
That's
changing. It's
crazy.
getting. It's getting more. The music is getting more intense and darker. Even by the way, the chords and keys that he's playing
Right.
are darker. I like the shot that when he was walking and they came with the right there, that shot where he ducks under them doing
The handshake.
the exchange and handshake. Yeah,
And it's
that
like
was
because
cool.
his father's saying, "Oh, just because you're in a palace, that don't mean you're number
To the
one."
king. Yeah,
And right, and then he says something about, "Oh, you're still number two. Like you're just a servant. You're still number two." And then the next is like he changes monies for arms. So now he's dealing. He's not even
yeah.
dealing in money
Arms,
anymore.
cocaine, all that stuff that they had going on. So now he went from a legitimate business
Right.
selling a tech. He from a tech guy to to the dirty
Selling
business.
text.
Selling techs exactly. So it's just like, where did that come from?
Right. And
These
and
dudes
and
just
this started at the age of 5
well,
from
yeah.
his
I mean,
father
the
programming
root.
him. And now
Yeah,
as he's going along and seems like he's doing the right thing, the father telling him that's nothing. You still more, more,
yeah.
more. And now it's like, what if we go? We're gonna go back, and he says something for trying to get his daddy's approval. And so it's like he's still trying to circling that approval from
Yeah.
his father, and it hasn't been able to get it. Very interesting. Take it
Be a
back a
life
little.
of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here, son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28, inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30, his daddy says you're losing the race. You're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31, a big maneuver for his daddy's approval, moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32, losing grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33, filling warehouses with powder and guns. 34, turf war with nobody to stop it. Blind eye from the popo inside of his pocket. 35. He gets the call. I'm sorry, son, but it's your father. Had a heart attack. I'm sorry, he's gone. 36. Getting pissed off, abusing his product. 37. Eyes glazed, disposition demonic. 38. With a prostitute, a moment of passion. Heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39. Getting reckless and hungry for power. Daddy's words are still driving him to kill and devour. Makes a move against the cartel, but the strategy's flawed. They retaliate and leave him in a hospital ward. A bullet buried in his vertebra and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, I don't think you'll be walking again. Fuck.
Mm. No, he didn't.
Chasing the money,
No,
ironically, and now he can't walk.
now he can't walk. And
Wow.
it kind of brings the significance back to him running at a young age and stuff like that. Now he
Right, right.
can't even walk. Now he said they don't think he'll walk again. Now he's in the wheelchair and he's obviously acting it out. They still haven't changed shots yet.
So this is still the same shot.
It's still a oneer. Yeah. The only thing they did was
Wow.
that little effect, that little flip effect. That was probably just added. They probably just shot the globe and then added that effect, but it's still not a official like a cut.
Mm.
So it looks like, at least it looks like a wonder. If they did cut somewhere, they did a really good job of not showing it.
Right.
So let's see. See that could have been a transition right there.
Mm.
They could have cut there. Yeah, it's
Right.
gonna still appear like this is a wonder, but it's
Mm.
very possible they could have cut there and it not be a wonder. We'll just say it is still a wonder, just for entertainment purposes. Oh yeah, because he added these people here, so it's very
Let
possible.
me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. He was 40 and he cursed the words mine, mine, gimme. 41 he wasn't walking, 42 not walking quickly, 43 never running round the pavements of his city, 44 inside a palace with a mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble when perspective evolves. Weighing heavy on his conscience is the value of gold. Lamborghini for a life, trading money for souls. Jimmy followed the code inside the land of the free. Put your hand inside the cookie jar, take more than you need. And his
Mm.
example is exaggerated versions of me. And it's a version of him. And it's a version of she. And it's a version of you. There's no escaping the blame. The way we live is parasitic. Fuck the money and fame. Cut the music.
Mm.
Breaking the third wall.
This isn't
Fourth wall,
entertainment.
yep.
This is real life. The way we live is lunacy, community, it declines. Hyperpolarized, always fighting, then we divide. Truth is less important than the money that we designed.
Mm.
Money's an invention. Politics from our invention. They all come from people's ideas. Did I mention? Border's an invention. Law and order fuel the tension. It leads to people killing each other. My solution?
Mm.
Wow.
Mm. You do stuff like that, you getting ready to kill yourself, probably.
Everything is subject to change. We could build utopias if individuals were taught to use their brains. But if we teach kids in schools to always be sheep and put themselves before the herd if there's more money for me,
Mm.
then there's no future I see where the humans survive with parasites inside a petri dish with cannibal minds. Mold will grow upon the surface and consume till it dies. And our fate could be the same without this story to the wise.
Interesting.
Wow.
45. Jimmy comes home out of the rain, soaking wet upon a wheelchair, drinking again. He is everything he wants. He is fortune and fame. He's a fortunate fool with an unfortunate fate. With a 45 caliber aimed at his brain. 45 a fitting number cause his age is the same. Here's the words of his father. It's such a damn shame. Then he presses on the trigger of a money game.
Wow.
Oh wow, that's the end. Hmm. Yeah, that was very
Wow.
very interesting. I mean, obviously, there's a big moral to that story, and he talks about how we live parasitic, you know,
Right.
as parasites.
Yeah.
And it also, I mean, like the old saying is, what does a millionaire dream of? Well, a millionaire dreams of becoming a billionaire. That's what a
Right.
millionaire dreams of. You know what I mean? And then it goes from that to where how money could be so, if that's your main goal that was put in your head from being a child,
Right. Right.
you know what I'm saying, it's going to be your
Money is
downfall.
the means to all ends. So that means a lot of different things. Um, it's the means to all ends of poverty. It could also become the means to all ends of you in the if
Hmm.
you if you don't have it, if you don't keep yourself into perspective. The
Yeah.
reason why that gets me emotional is that you have when you look at that and I think about my childhood,
Right.
that I didn't I never fortunately I never had parents that put pressure on it, and we grew up in the same household. We never had those parents that put pressure on us from a little from that age to say you got to do this, you got to do that,
Mm,
you got all disappointing you if you don't do that. My parents was always as long as you do your best,
mm,
that's all I care about. As long as
yeah.
you do your best, and this kid was doing everything the right way. He getting good grades. He was, he sold his vision at a young age, and
Right.
because he didn't, because his father made it seem as though like what you're doing, yeah, that's cool, but that's nothing. You're still not number one. You're
Mm,
still not this one. And then that's the reason why he spiraled at 35 when his father died, because it's like he never got a chance to get his full approval. And now his
right. And
father's
he
gone.
also he never really had full control of his life. Like he was always being told what to do. So
Right.
when his father died, It was no other. He didn't know what to do. He didn't have no instruction. Because what
Right.
happens is what the unfortunate thing about how when parents push their kids like that, they overly push them or to the extreme. A lot of times, the immediate result of it is success. I mean, think about it. Michael Jackson pushed at a young age all through his life, and
Right.
look at how successful he became. Right? You got other people that you can say, that they examples that was pushed at a young age and became that's like the immediate thing. But then when you get there, it's about, I guess, you as a person, how you handle it. I mean, for it, like from the beginning, like from based on this story, he never thought for himself because
Right.
he was programmed to not think for himself. At 5, the father was telling him how he should feel at 5. So, and then even when he made the success, the father pushed him more, saying that's not enough. So, like I said, you got,
He took
yeah,
took a
you're a
couple of
millionaire.
couple took a couple of bills out of his pocket and gave it to him, patted him on the back. And it
Yeah,
kind of like gives you the person like, okay, he did the work. It's like he gave him a percentage of it. Like, there you go,
mhm,
good job.
yeah.
And that's the perception. I'm not saying he did do that, but
No, yeah,
that's the
no,
perception that part gave because he gave him a few bills,
yeah,
patted him on the back,
yeah.
and
I mean, it's just a matter of, greed is the underlining theme here. Greed, where greed will get you, and obviously,
greed.
use
Put your hand inside the cookie jar. Take more than
yeah,
you need. That's what he
take more
said.
than you need. That's what it says. So that's what I mean. So greed is one of the underlining themes of this, right? Um, also when it comes to the father, like I said, the father kind of just, who knows why the father was pushing him like that. He was using the state of the world as an excuse.
Right.
Nobody cares for you, da, 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 and go ahead, take everything that everything you can. It's funny. The reason why I was joking about, and not that I want to bring up Trump, but he was kind of programmed like that too, not just by his father, but by his mentor. The funny thing is the things that his mentor told him, we are experiencing right now. His mentor, one of the rules he told him is never admit defeat, always claim victory. He does that now. He
Right.
does it right now.
Right.
He does it right now. Even when
Yep.
he deny everything. That was another rule. It was like 3 rules. I don't remember the third. I don't remember the one in the middle. But the first one was deny everything. Then there was another one in the middle that he does now. And then the third one was never admit defeat. Always claim victory. Even in defeat, claim victory. And that's exactly what he does now. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, yeah. No one goes to his things, his crowd, his rallies. Oh, we have the biggest rallies. Like, no, you don't. But he does
Right.
it
Right.
anyway. But that's all I gotta say about that. But I mean, that's why I was joking about that because most powerful men, especially the ones that were born into money, because according to the story, he was kind of born into money. This kid,
Kinda. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So especially ones that are born into money, there's an expectation set of them, and the only thing the father, a millionaire, the only thing a millionaire or a billionaire wants for his child is to be more rich than
Yeah.
him, because that goes even deeper. You're thinking long term. You're thinking, uh, uh, the wealth passing down and generational wealth, stuff like that. In order to do all of that, some people feel that they got to push that. This is a really good, it's really deep concept. I mean, visually, definitely great idea. I think you mentioned that he's a filmmaker. Like you could tell he's a
Yeah. Yeah.
filmmaker because
Mhm.
this had to be thought out for it even to be shot like this. You know, like I mean,
Choreographed. That's it's like a
it
when
had
you're
to be
doing it that
blocked.
one shot. That's like a choreographed.
Yeah, it had to be choreographed, blocked out. Everything has to be lit properly. You know, to do all that stuff. Even if, like I said, my only, I think he probably cut when it went from behind the wheelchair. That was the best place for you to cut if you're gonna cut, because
Right.
then when it comes from behind the wheelchair, there's like three people, like the violinist back there playing or whatever. But either way, it was very well done. Even if it wasn't a full oneer, throughout most of that video, it was a oneer. So it was like, if you mess that up, you have to start from one. You have to start from the beginning. So everybody, that has to be planned out, written out, thought out, blocking, choreographed, shot list, everything has to be there. So very, very difficult thing to do. So definitely I applaud this gentleman. I didn't know, I never heard of him till
Yeah,
right now.
it was the first time that, like I said, somebody shout out to my daughter for putting me on, and that's gonna make me doze more into this stuff. If
Right.
this
And
is
this is
part
part
three, now
three.
I gotta
Right.
go watch one and two.
One and two, because this is part three, and it's just like, and this was a pretty long video too, for what the standard of video lengths are today. So for this to be part three, you can only imagine one and two and
Right.
anything beyond. But I definitely might check him out. He's got a lot of I mean, he has like he must be from the UK or something.
Yeah,
He
from
has
the UK.
a
From
good
the
voice.
UK.
Yeah, man, they once again, the Brits always
Brits is
doing it better.
Brits is showing up. Yeah.
They
But
show up, but yeah, I think that was good. That was
good
good.
job, Ren. Good job, the director. Thank y'all for tuning in. We're gonna be back late. Put us down in the comments. I know it's a pretty long video, but we wanted to make sure we broke everything down for you guys. And put down in the comments if you want us to react to some more Ren. Um, put the suggestion down there what you think we should react to, or even if it's not Ren, what else you want the Clark brothers to break down for you? Because we're gonna break it down better than anybody else on YouTube. So for the
Yeah,
director, the
this
boy
was good.
Kevin Clark, is very good applaud to Ren, man.
Yeah, good applause to him,
It
man.
was
That
real
that
dope.
leaves you.
Real dope.
It
We
leaves you
need more
speechless
artists.
almost.
You don't have many artists out like that. I'm sitting here still kind of shook. The video been off 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, very good video.
But
But yeah, y'all let us know in the comments what y'all thought of the video, what you thought of what we